Hey, what's up, podcasters? It's Coach Jay, and here we go. Let's go. Section right now, 5.4B. We'll do it.
Dave in the house.
That's right,
If we're doing
David.
B, can we just convert that back to degrees?
Yes, I can convert this to degrees first, which would be helpful. David, before I get to the A part, are you struggling on what two angles add or subtract to equal it?
I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I subtracted that from 2 pi. I was dumb. Sorry.
Hold up. You could do that. Add 2 pi?
Yeah.
You could absolutely do that because it's coterminal, right?
Okay, that's what I did. But then then I guess that's when I would convert it to degrees or whatever. But I got 17 pi over 12. But I know 17 pi is prime. So I was like, what the heck?
So this is 12, right? Put a 12 on the bottom,
Yeah.
which would be 24. 2
Right.
times 12 is 24 pi over 12.
Right.
When we subtract, we get 17 pi over 12. Let's convert that to
Okay,
degrees.
that's what we converted.
Okay?
Got you.
And by the way, you could do it this way as well. You don't have to do the coterminal. So if I multiply by 180 over pi, these cancel. And then I would just simply find what the angle would be when I multiply 12 or 17 times 180 divided by 12. And that would be 15 times 17, which would be, I think that's 225. No, I'm off. I'm off. Someone, if you throw it in your calculator though, David, that's what we would get.
Are we talking about 17 times 180?
Yeah,
It'll be opposite though.
what was it again? Negative 105, which would be 55, 255. Is it 255? I think. I think that's 255 positive. Either one of them would work, so we got to find two angles that add up to equal 255. That's on my unit circle. And I'm trying to think we could do one.
Let's do 135 and 120.
135 and
120.
no, I like that. That's good. So 1,
35.
perfect. And there you are. Cool. So that'd be the setup on B.
Got it, yeah. And I just need to know how to get to there. I know what to do.
Perfect. Perfect. How many of you are struggling on the tangent on part A? Okay, cool. Let me first talk, and that's not cool, I'm sorry. But I realized like, that's really not good. So here's what we want to do with this. Couple things. First thing is if you found what sine of u plus v was and cosine of u plus v, if you do not like the tangent formula, it is possible to simply, once I found what the answers were, Rosemary reminded me we could do what with this? Sine over cosine. So before I go to this formula, it is appropriate to then go whatever my answer is for this one, because you already found it, and for cosine, and simply do the answer of sine over the answer of cosine for this. But you got to be careful. You got to use the formula for both of these to find that before I divide it, okay? All right, I'm going to go through the formula, though, just in case. Devin?
I did that and I multiplied it and it ended up crossing everything out. And
It shouldn't on the... You're right.
it's just saying
You're right. Hey, do this. Don't listen to what I just said. I think I just messed up on what I said. And I don't know why. I remembered this last year, this happening. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. My apology. I want to look into it more before I give it to you. Cool? There's something behind it, and I remember it. We did that last year, and I just don't want to steer you wrong. So let's go through the formula for right now, and then I'll tell you before the test this will work or whatnot. Okay? Cool. All right, so let's do tangent of u plus v. What is the two angles? We had, Katie, we did 150 and 135, right? Okay. All right, just like before, we remember that in this instance, we put down the formula, right? So it's tangent of u plus tangent of v. Make sure my signs are right. I always kind of get them tweaked. And then 1 minus tangent u tangent v. Cool? What is u? It could be either 135 or 1.
Let's make it 50.
150, right? Okay, so if we did 150 here, and this is 135, we'll plug those in, 150. Sorry, that's 150. And 135. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this now. Tangent of 150 is should be square roots of 3 over 3, and that's a negative, right? So negative square roots of 3 over 3 is tangent of 150. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say that that angle is negative root 3 over 3, okay? What about tangent of 135?
I don't have a unit.
Negative 1, good, because when we do the y over x, we should get a square roots of 2 over 2 over square roots of 2 over 2, with one of them being negative, and there you are. We'll have a negative 1 here, okay? Now, this is going to look a little weird, and I want to make sure we hit on it. The bottom turns into 1 minus, and what's tangent of 150? Yep, same thing, negative square roots of 3 over 3, and then tangent of 135 is negative 1, right? Okay, so this looks like a whole heap of mess, okay?
Yeah, it does.
So here's what I would say. Act as though there's one on the top and one on the bottom. So what would this 1 do? What could we do with the 1 to change it to where it's common?
We cancel. Here's a guess.
I can't cancel the top and bottom because they're not the exact thing with signs. I'll show you why here. So negative square roots of 3 over 3 minus 1, we're going to change this to 3 over 3, right? So I can subtract that. So on the top side, we should get negative root 3 minus 3 all over 3.
I like that.
Cool? The bottom, when multiplied, would get 1 times this would be 1 minus square roots of 3 over 3. What does the 1 turn into? 3 over 3. So this would be 3 minus square roots of 3 all over 3. Okay? Now, since these two fractions have the same denominator, what can we do? If I flip this to the top, you'd be right, Hannah. So this would be, the 3's would cancel, wouldn't it? So what would happen is you'd have negative square roots of 3 minus 3 all over 3 minus root 3. I cannot cancel there because the signs aren't the exact same. So because of that, we'd leave it as negative root 3 minus 3 all over 3 minus root 3. Okay?
Wait, and this is for A?
It does. If you need some more paper, I can get some to
Wait,
you.
Coach, this is for A.
This is for A.
Good
Yeah.
question.
So I did the question completely wrong then.
Why is that?
We're supposed to use tan on A.
You're supposed to use all.
You're doing sine, cosine, and tangent.
Oh.
Does that make sense? The reason why, that's a lot for each one, and I get that. Number 2, that was pretty easy. I think most of you did number 2 yesterday. And then number 3, we're going to hit on here in just a second. We're going to go through one as well. Yeah.
But this one right here, Coach, isn't this simply finding it and then adding it?
That's it.
So that'd be the answer.
Yes, I just want you to see that this is not the same.
Yeah. But how do we do these problems, Coach?
These ones were the ones we did yesterday, right? Y'all remember number 2?
No.
Did we do number 2 yesterday? These ones? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is 23 on your homework? Yeah, so this D part, 2D, this would be cosine of U, cosine of V minus sine U sine V, which would be what formula?
So it'd be cosine plus.
Good, yeah, that's exactly right. Cosine of U plus V. What is U in number 23, or your D part? 25, what's V? 15. So what would be my answer? That's literally my answer. That's good, Rosemary. That's my
So the
answer.
problem?
That's it. That's all you got to do.
You don't want to solve it?
That's all you got. You don't even have to because that's not on my unit circle. So you can't do 40 degrees on your unit circle. So literally what you see there is all you would put there. All of these 4 that you have, or the ones that you have on yours, all 4 of those are the exact same thing.
But A, B, and C, and D are all.
All of them are that easy. Just so match up the formulas, and it's almost like you're going backwards. Go a little
Okay.
backwards.
Makes sense.
All right. Cool. So number 2, do y'all feel good on number 2? Yeah. Okay. What about B and C? Bingo. Literally the same thing. Cool. Literally the same thing. Rocket. Okay, what about the last section? I want to go to the last section here. Going over the ones on the back. I'm going to do this just so we can do a homework one here. Let's see, 5.4 HW. I'm going to look it up right here. So on those back ones, do you see that they're kind of like, I think it's an identity. Isn't that what we're doing there? Let's see here. There we go. We're pulling this up here. I just wanted to show you this one. All right, let's do this. Let's go through 4A together. You know what I mean? Let's do 4A, and that way we're rocking here.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is 3 triangle one?
3? Let me just check it out real quick.
Is that like the one with the triangle?
Yes, 3 is the one with the triangle, the one we did yesterday. Cool. But they're the same one, so you only need to do triangles once for each. For U and Z. Okay? All right.
Use this stamp.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Hey, do this. If you got the first one completely done, I said the first group, it was a little bit tricky on who was first and whatnot. Just stamp off A and B. Cool? So the only one I need you to do it again for is C, part C. Is that cool? So just do all 3 for C. I know there's not a lot of room, but I think if we do just A and C, I think we'll be okay with understanding where we're headed. All right, let's do A. Make sure we get this one. Unless y'all want to do it. Y'all want to do it? I mean, oh, okay. B, you can still do B.
Converted to
Oh, is that what you were already going into B?
I was still trying to figure out the tan of A when you were doing B on the board.
Gotcha. So how would I set that up? Is that what you're saying? If I was to set this one up, Bianca, I would go and attack it by changing -7 pi over 12 to degrees. So I would go
So like a 180 over pi or
180 over pi, which cancels out here. So 7 times 180 divided by 12 is, Rosemary helped me with, I think it was -105, right? So this would be -105 degrees. So when I do the sine, cosine, and tangent of those 2 angles, I have to set it up to where it's 2 angles that when added or subtracted,
and then you do
exactly. I don't like it to where it's negative, so we could do a coterminal angle
add 360.
at 360, which would produce 255. And then you just find 2 angles that when added would equal 255. Cool. All right, let's go to that one I was talking about. Let's go to 4A, okay? All right, let's check it out. Questions, or maybe a question for y'all. If I did 4A, this is my answer. The 2 cosine x cosine y. So this is an identity. Could someone help me with how I could maybe approach the left side to match up to my right side? What could I do there?
Could you, do you have to plug in each formula on both sides of the addition?
I would do exactly that. You're exactly right. Now, what would be u?
Okay.
The u is x and the v is y, right? So what is cosine of u plus v? What's that formula?
Cosine u, cosine v, minus sine u, sine v.
Good. So this is that first cosine of x plus y, where x is u and y is v, right? All right, let's look at this next one here. Cosine of x minus y. Help me out. What would I do with that one? How would I simplify that one? 4A.
Can we undistribute?
I can't just distribute cosine to each. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
like undistribute, whatever it's called. Or- yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, like get it into the same form.
Yeah,
What was it, Mason?
Cosine u, cosine b plus sine u, sine b.
Sine of u and sine of v. Y'all get why I used x and y here?
Yeah,
Y'all feel okay on that?
yeah, it looks better than U and V, and sounds better.
I agree. So question, what would I do next? Bingo. Are there like terms?
Well, the sine Y, sine X cancel,
Gone like a freight train, gone like yesterday, and what do we have?
and those combine, cos X, cos Y.
Yeah?
2 cosine x, cosine
Cosine x, cosine y, which matches up to my right side. Cool. Alright, so if you see that where it's cosine, sine, or tangent of whatever's inside the parentheses, just make sure you do not distribute it. Remember I'd say I haunt you, right? I would haunt you there. know it is. It's creepy. And what you would then, at that point, make sure that you put it in your sum and difference formulas, combine them, and you're good to go. Match them up. Okay. So this one, same thing. You would attack it the same exact way. All right? Cool beans? Questions? All right, as you look at the homework, just on first glance, is there anything that you're like, man, I really struggle on this, or need this?
What did you just do again? Sorry.
That's okay. So the yellow right here
Mhm.
comes from this when I use my formula, and the red comes from what's that?
Oh, the formulas from here?
Yeah, the sum and difference formulas.
Gotcha.
And then the red comes from that over there. The red ones, I combine like terms, and that produces 2 cosine x cosine y, which is what we have on that right side there.
Oh, so that's all you want us to do?
That's it. That's all I got.
I have another question, Coach.
While you're doing that, Rosemary, you had one earlier. Exactly. So what would be the tangent one if we were to simplify it?
Oh.
So like what would be the u for this one? X. What would be the b? Pi, good. Yes, we're literally just plugging it in, right? So when I plug this in, it would be tangent of x plus tangent of y, right? All over 1 minus
Coach.
tangent of x times tangent of pi. And really, what is y? And I messed that up. Y is the same as pi in this instance, right? It's the second one. Well, what is tangent of pi?
That's 0.
Say that
Okay.
again.
Okay.
0, good. So really, these are 0. So that's 0. This is 0, because 0 times anything is 0. So this would be tangent over 1, which is just what? Just tangent, good. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing for 2 sine of x plus pi, right? You put it in the formula, and then when you'll add that to tangent of x, and it should produce a value of 0. Good. Good. Questions there?
That's that what you want.
That's one. That's all I need.
Wait, but why does
That's it. These ones you may not be able to combine because they're x and y. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to like get one to the solve for y or something like that, or no?
Now just say it's cosine of blank minus blank.
2y or something like that, 2yx.
Yeah, 3x minus 2y or 3x plus 2y. Whatever this one is.
why is the bottom tan X?
Yeah.
Trip.
Careful, Coach.
Oh man. Almost lost my life there. Say that again.
Why does tan x on the bottom cancel out but not the top?
Good question, because tangent x is multiplied by tangent of y. Tangent of y is 0, so anything times 0 is 0, yeah. Yeah. And that's how I would get tangent of x over 1 there. Deb? Oh, I did it?
I can get my tickets either, Coach.
You know what I just realized?
Bianca?
How did 2 sine x plus pi become?
Oh, I haven't done that one yet. That's my bust. All of this stemmed from this first one. So what's in red and then simplifying? This tangent of x is not it. That's not the end. That's just from this part.
Okay.
So you're going to have to do the sine of x plus pi by doing it in your sum and difference formula. Find that, if that makes sense
Well,
there.
what do we do with the 2 though? Do
And
we
then
do it twice?
Go from there. So again,
Love the 2, we can do it twice.
you just multiply whatever you get on that side by 2.
So 2x and 2 times
No,
that.
basically, I realized.
No. Once you get it, once I've distributed and I've simplified, multiply that by 2.
So you multiplied times 2 after that. That's the last one we do.
Correct. Does that make sense? What'd you get on this side? Sine of x plus pi.
I just copied out what you had on the
So
It's okay.
does it make sense that this comes from here?
Yes.
Does that make sense? What I'm doing in blue is going to be the 2 sine of x plus pi. Cool. So I'm going to do it on this side. If I did sine of x plus pi, that would be what? Based on the formula.
Sine u, cosine v.
Good.
Cosine u, sine v.
And u would be Just x, right? Good. So we'd say sine of x, cosine of pi, cosine of x, sine of pi. Good. And then all of this is multiplied by 2, right? So the blue part is your second set, okay? So what is cosine of pi?
-1.
-1. So this is -1 times sine, right? Which would be
Negative sign.
negative sine of x. What's this? 0. Good.
This coming Sunday. This coming. No, I mean, yeah, next Sunday.
So it would just be negative.
I think. Hey y'all, if you could do this, look at this just for a second. I want to make sure that you understand where we're headed. First off, maybe some of you may have been doing something different. That's fine. Are y'all good with how I got tangent of x on this first one? Are you good on that? This second one, you may or may not have been listening on that, and that's fine. But this part over here, when multiplied by 2, should get -2 sine of x, right? Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this is I think this got put in the wrong section on the homework. Technically, the answer would be tangent of x minus 2 sine of x, right? Okay? I don't think it's a verifying problem. I think in this one we're looking to try to solve it. But here's all I want you to note and do is just in your homework, just state that this is tangent of x minus 2 sine of x and that it's equal to 0. I just need you to get some reps in with making sure that you know the sum and difference there. Okay? That was kind of weird. Yes, absolutely. So if you're good, and make sure you show the work on
We're
that.
skipping the review section, Coach?
Say again?
We're skipping the review section?
Now you got to do the review this time. Because I need you to just do 2. What is there, 2, right? Yeah, you're good on that. You're good on that. Yeah.
For this problem, how would you do it with the 86?
Good question. This one is similar. The one that's up here, showing you this one here. Here, where actually it's the same one, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good there. So Annie, on 25, this is a formula that is, if you look at your formula sheet, it's tangent of u minus v. Except what is u?
Sorry.
You good? So 325, and what is v? Good. So then you're just doing what is tangent of 325 minus 86 on this one, and whatever you get, that's just what your answer is. You don't actually have to find it in this context.
Okay.
Now if it's
Is that what you do for all these? You just go backwards?
That's all you do.
Okay.
Yep, that's all you're doing. So if you get to this point and you get to the end and it's not on your unit circle, just put tangent of whatever it is and that's your answer.
Okay.
I'll be good with that.
What if it is on your unit circle and you have to
Solve it. Yeah, just solve it. Like if it's tangent of 30, just tell me what it would be. Unit circle there. Cool. Awesome. We got about, man, that's been quick. We've got about 2 minutes left and we'll do the hot seat, cool? And we'll go from there, all right?
Coach.
Oh, the number 3. Did y'all see number 3?
Yeah.
If you want to get that one, I think we've done a lot of these today, haven't we? We don't have too much. I hope not. Hope not. All right, so real quick, it tells us that there's 2 angles, right? U and V. Where's U? What quadrant?
Both, they're quadrant 2.
Yeah, they're both in quadrant 2, right? So we're going to say that this is theta, but we'll say this is U, and we'll also put 1 over here, and we'll state that this is V, okay? This is for V. So with U, it says sine of U is 5 over 13. Where would the 5 go?
That's going to go on
Over here.
opposite.
It's the opposite. Where would 13 go?
Hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse, good. Does anyone know what the adjacent side would be?
So, 4.
It'd be 12. Good, Bianca, because of the, like it's a perfect trinomial there. It's perfect, makes a perfect square. So we got negative 12 because it goes to the left side. And then over for, I put that on the B side, I'm sorry. It should be U, and this should be V, my fault. And for V, it's negative 3/5, so what's negative 3 represent? The adjacent, exactly, yeah, good, Katie. So this would be negative 3, and where would 5 go? The hypotenuse, which makes the opposite 4, good, on that side. So when we set this up, sine of u plus v is straight from our formula, right? Where we'll do the formula, which is sine of u cosine v plus cosine u sine v. And how do I find each of these? Well, I'll go to my triangle, like I'll go to v and say, okay, what is the sine of v? That's 4/5. So sine of v, we literally put 4/5 in for sine of v, right? What's cosine of u? This one's the u side, right? It'd be the adjacent over the hypotenuse, right? So negative 12 over 13, right?
Yep.
Cool. Am I going too quick, or does that make sense?
You're good.
All right, Olivia, I know you had a question on it. Does that make sense on where we're at? I think I did one yesterday on this. And then we just plug in the other two and then simplify and go. Okay? The cool thing is once I find those two, when I say find tangent of u plus v, you could just go back to those triangles to plug in and go. Victoria, you good? Sine of u, what's sine of u?
Sine of u,
What would this one be?
5/13.
5/13, good. What's cosine of v?
Negative 12/13.
That'd be over here for this one, right?
Negative 12/13. Right.
I think it's this
Oh,
one.
you say cosine?
Because this is cosine
Oh,
of
V.
v.
Oh,
Yeah, this
yeah.
should be v, my fault. And this one's u. So v would be negative 3/5, I
Yeah,
think.
after 5.
Cool. And then I just multiply and then add them together and you're good. Okay.
And what you get from this is your answer.
What you get there is your answer.
And the answer is like sine of the answer.
It actually would just be this.
So you just circle and that's it.
Exactly. So sine of u plus v equals whatever I get over here.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Let's do this. I've got 3 minutes for a hot seat. Are y'all good with that? We'll do that there. Remember too, this is due by Sunday. Y'all have should have hopefully less than 5 problems. It was my goal.
Is it this Sunday or
Next Sunday. Next Sunday. Okay. Cool. Y'all. I have a riot on my hands. All right. Hot seat. Did I have anybody that was next on the hot seat? We didn't have a list. Some classes do. That's why I asked.
Coach, what's the answer to that, you know?
Negative 15 minus 48, which would be negative 63 over 65.
Good. I like that math, Coach.
No, man, we gotta get it going. All right, let's do this. Let's go. Devin, can we put you on the hot seat? Would that be cool? Devin's on the hot seat. Let's do it. All right, as Devin's coming up, let's think of questions. Devin, desert island, 3 things or people. Who or what would you bring?